Big Tech and Public Data Control, How It Affects Innovation and Competition. Have you ever wondered what happens to the data you share online? Recently, LinkedIn made headlines by removing the company page of Apollo.io, a sales engagement platform that relied on scraping LinkedIn profile data. This isn't just a random act. It's part of LinkedIn's ongoing effort to crack down on unauthorized data collection, even when that data is publicly visible. The message is loud and clear. If you think you can access public user data without permission, think again. Apollo's CEO, Tim Jin, reassured users that this takedown wouldn't disrupt their services or core platform functionality. However, the implications of LinkedIn's actions are significant. It marks a shift in how big tech companies are redefining the rules around public data, which was once a shared resource for researchers, developers, and startups. Now, it seems that publicly viewable information is increasingly being treated as proprietary. #the ripple effects of public data restrictions. So, what does this mean for the digital marketplace? Here are 3 major impacts. 1. Limited competition. With platforms like LinkedIn tightening their grip on data access, only a select few can utilize key datasets. This creates a barrier for new entrants and stifles competition. 2. Higher costs for businesses. Many companies that previously relied on affordable or open data tools are now facing steep fees. For instance, Twitter's new API pricing can cost developers upwards of $42,000 per month, effectively pricing out many independent creators. 3. Fewer consumer choices. As access to data becomes restricted, innovative apps and services are forced to shut down. This means consumers are left with fewer options, often at higher prices. The Apollo incident is just one piece of a larger puzzle. Big tech is increasingly locking away data that was once freely accessible. Platforms like X, formerly Twitter, and Meta, Facebook/Instagram, have also implemented strict measures to control data access. For example, X has limited tweet visibility and introduced high API fees, while Meta has taken aggressive legal action against unauthorized scraping. #the bigger picture, data lock-in. This trend isn't just limited to LinkedIn. Google has raised the price of its Maps API by over 1,400%, and Amazon has strict terms that ban scraping of its vast product and review data. In each case, what was once accessible is now becoming increasingly locked away behind corporate walls, either through the removal of APIs, exorbitant fees, or legal threats. #the impact on competition. When major platforms restrict access to publicly viewable data, the consequences are felt across various industries. Limited competition. Only the platform and a few partners can access essential data, preventing others from creating competing services. Higher costs for businesses. Companies that relied on open data tools now face steep fees, making it harder for them to innovate. Fewer consumer choices. Many useful apps have been forced to shut down due to restricted data access, leaving users with fewer, often more expensive, options. This isn't about protecting user privacy. Most of the data being restricted is already publicly visible. Instead, it's about who controls and profits from that data. When only a handful of companies can access vital digital resources, they gain disproportionate power over pricing, innovation, and service delivery. #policy responses and legal frameworks. Regulators are starting to take notice. In the EU, the Digital Markets Act (DMA) mandates that gatekeeper platforms allow data portability and interoperability, ensuring businesses and consumers can move their data across services. In the US, lawmakers are increasingly concerned about how exclusive data control can harm competition. While there's no federal law currently requiring open public data access, the Federal Trade Commission is exploring whether the data practices of dominant platforms are anti-competitive. The courts are also weighing in. In the case of HiQ versus LinkedIn Corp., the court suggested that limiting access to public information might violate competition norms, indicating that such restrictions could be seen as efforts to suppress competition rather than protect user privacy. #advocating for open access to public data. The core issue here goes beyond technicalities. It's about fairness, competition, and innovation. Publicly visible information should not be monopolized by the platforms that host it. To keep the digital economy vibrant and open, we must reject artificial barriers. Publicly accessible data should remain accessible, regardless of how it's retrieved. Support smart regulation. Government policies should balance data protection with fair access and portability. Encourage responsible scraping. When done ethically and legally, web scraping can foster research, innovation, and consumer tools. Resist data monopolies. If access to public data remains restricted, only dominant platforms will be able to create powerful data-driven products, leading to higher prices and fewer choices. Public data is a shared resource, not a private asset. If we allow big tech to dictate who can access public information, we risk solidifying their power over digital markets. The time to act is now, before the opportunity to build open, competitive, and innovative tools slips away for good.